Hello and welcome to the Red Men TV. I'm Chris Pajak. This is Daily News Show. I'm over in Liverpool. Paul is with a couple of lads over in Germany. I'm going to bring you the latest on the Phil Coutinho stuff now. Just to recap it, because we've not been through all of it. Listen, we've got to start with Friday's events first and foremost. Didn't manage to get a video out on Friday. So apologies for that, basically. So first and foremost, let's just do a little quick recap. Let's talk a little bit about Phil Coutinho, and then we've got some tweets from Gillan Balaguer that have just broke, so we're going to try and round it all up together, basically. Okay, so FSG come out with a definitive stance. The club's definitive stance is that no offers for Philippe will be considered and he will remain a member of Liverpool Football Club when the summer window closes. Sky Sports then come out and go, Phil Coutinho has handed in a transfer request. Then all the Northwest journalists like, no, he hasn't. He hasn't. Don't panic. Then 1 o'clock rolls around. Phil Coutinho gets on his email, sends an email off to Michael Edwards, hands a transfer request in. Then all the Northwest reporters are like, no, he actually has handed in a transfer request. It's gone mental. This is like 24 hours after we've rejected a £90 million bid for Phil Coutinho. This is Barcelona and Phil Coutinho. They're in his ear like that. It's now or never. It's now or never. It's now or never. It's now or never. And Philippe's gone, I'm going to have to type this email in. Oh my God, I'm going to have to go. Liverpool fans go into meltdown one day before the season. Not a good result on Saturday at all. Then I forgot all about it. Then what happens next? Well, Phil Coutinho basically he's photographed in the club store, them pulling his picture down in the window and stuff, and everyone's like, no, he's going. Then they're like, no, it's Western Union, we're putting stuff in for Western Union. Like, no, someone from the Echo just phoned the club store and asked them what was going on. No need to fume too hard. What was happening is the autumn collection was getting ready to go up. That was always the plan, apparently. Whether you believe that or not, that's up to you, but that's what the shop have said. Gillan Balaguer has come out this morning, not 10 minutes ago, and said Coutinho will keep trying whatever it takes to go to Barcelona, but Liverpool insist he is not for sale. Liverpool have no plans to meet Barcelona. Coutinho's transfer request did not change at this point the definitive stance of the club. They do not want to get rid of him. Klopp's words are interpreted as him resigned to lose him, but he's actually confirming that he is not for sale. Not everybody wants to listen, which is quite interesting in and of itself, isn't it? I mean, Klopp's been prickly, to say the least, over the season. I think there's rumours of him having a massive fallout with FSG, if you believe stuff that have been posted on Twitter. And I'm not saying whether it's true or not. I have no idea, if I'm honest with you. Rumours of a deteriorating situation with Coutinho for 6 months, which I don't believe, but I'm just guessing on that one. I'm not trying to say one way or another. This Klopp talking about like the owners and stuff. He's mentioned the owners a couple of times in interviews over the weekend. Doesn't look good. It does feel to me like something's going on there, and I just kind of wonder whether Klopp wants to get rid of him now, because if he doesn't want to be there, we know what type of a situation we've got with Mamadou Sakho and stuff, and I wonder whether Klopp's like, listen, the lad doesn't want to be here, so why are we holding on to him? Do you know what I mean? And, you know, from a fan's point of view, well, it's because he's one of our best players. But from a coach's point of view, if you've got that bad apple in your squad, how does that make everybody else feel? And can he turn it around like Luis Suarez did, when he gave us one more season and scored 31 goals in that season? Is Phil Coutinho going to be like that? Or is Phil Coutinho listening to those whispers of Barcelona and their representatives in his ear when they're saying to him, it's now or never, Philippe, it's now or never? Well, it's not now or never. It's never been now or never. And listen, Barcelona could go and buy loads of world-class players and stuff, but they've wanted Phil Coutinho for a couple of years. We've known about their interest for a while now, and I'm sure that Barcelona would still be interested in Phil Coutinho. But right now, where does he fit into that squad? Is it as the left winger for Neymar? Is it as a central midfielder like we seem to want to play him this season? And Iniesta's the captain of that club. Is he going to usurp Iniesta right now? I'm not 100% sure, but what I will say is, Phil Coutinho emailing a transfer request in, for me, that's not the way you do it. Like, now Michael Edwards is technically his boss, so maybe that's the only way that he can get in touch with Michael Edwards. But, mano is what I would do anyway. You know, I'd speak to Jurgen Klopp first. I wouldn't let him find out through the media and stuff like that. But that's me. Do you know what I mean? And it's all a bit mad, isn't it? I'm just trying to update with some of the comments and stuff. Okay, well, I'll start with this one. Uni Chronic MK1, Red Men subscriber for many years. Coutinho or not, I'm just glad that the summer defensive training paid off. You'll never walk alone from Hong Kong. Thanks very much for the chat, Uni Chronic MK1. The defensive training, listen, there'll be plenty of time. We're gonna record a final word show later today with Jim Boardman, Will, and we've also got John Machin in as well for the show. We're doing 45 minutes to an hour on that. We'll talk about the defensive stuff there, but you're right, terrible defending over the weekend. Not good enough for this football club, to be honest with you. Okay, what have we got talking about Coutinho? I'll tell you what, I'm going to give some opinion on Coutinho. I'm going to give my opinion on Coutinho, and you can agree with this or not. If he is going to stay and apply himself this season, absolutely sound. If there's an inkling of him not giving 110% for this football club, I would get rid of him. Now, that is based on being able to sign some replacements. I think, you know, you were going to need more than one replacement for Phil Coutinho. First of all, we need a centre-back. That's irrespective of whether Coutinho leaves. I think we need more than just a centre-back as well, looking at that performance on Saturday. But, you know, with Adam Lallana out for potentially 4 months, Phil Coutinho gone, potentially, I think you're going to need two midfielders, and I think it's going to be two different types of midfielders as well. I think you can get away with one attacking midfielder and one box-to-box midfielder. I don't want players at this club who don't want to play for the shirt. Now, I will forgive him if he comes into the side and we've kept hold of him and we basically go out there and he starts scoring goals and starts assisting. Like, I know that we can, but from where I am right now with him handing a transfer request and stuff like that, if we can get somebody else in, I would definitely look to try and get somebody else in and get rid of him. And that's just my opinion. You know, I think FSG needs to step up here big time. You know, they've gone out on a limb and said that we're not selling him. If they sell him now, then that tells the footballing world that they'll go back on their word. So ultimately, Liverpool can't sell Phil Coutinho if you believe in the owners and if you want the owners to do right by the club. Like, going out there and saying we're not selling him and then selling him looks terrible for the world of football, and that'll really hurt us in seasons to come as well if that's the case. Listen, as it stands right now, they are not selling Philippe Coutinho, and I'm happy with that if Phil Coutinho plays well. But if they've decided before he hands a transfer request in that he is not for sale and they don't sell him and he plays terribly, well, that one's on them as well. It doesn't look win-win. It looks very much lose-lose for FSG right now because they've got to come at them from all areas. You know, they've not managed to get the signings through the door that we wanted before the season. Listen, I know it's a very, very difficult area to get transfers in, and especially this window and stuff, but there are lots of other teams who've managed to get players through the door, and yet Liverpool still seem to have a gaping hole at centre-back, absolutely. You know, we're going into the season with one of our best players handing a transfer request in. We also haven't signed the midfielder that we've chased all summer long now. You know, if the Liverpool believed that they were going to get Naby Keita, fair enough, but at some point you've got to have a backup plan in place, and it doesn't look like we've had a backup plan in place, and it doesn't look like we've got enough time to get a player through the door either. Now, I'm a very positive Liverpool fan, and if I'm starting to edge over to that point of view, then, you know, they've done a lot of things wrong in my estimation anyway. I'm going to go back into the comments anyway. Why are we not ready for the season, says Mike Tyson. No idea. R&M Enterprise, FSG out now. Joel Sargent, FSG need to make a statement. They've made a statement, haven't they? I think Jun Fong says Pajak so delusional. Elliot Dickinson said Pajak, can you play centre-back? Yes, not very well though, if I'm honest. Gary Paul says FSG out. Loads of FSG outs at the moment. Chris, if we lose Coutinho and make no new signings, are we looking at a position outside of the top six, says RJS11? Not necessarily. I think, you know, this team can click. I think what we've seen over the weekend is a front three that all scored in the first game of competitive football that they've played together, and they looked lightning when they all got together. You know, the first real attack of the season was our first goal, really. It was the first time that we really linked up, and, you know, Sadio Mane dropping into that sort of 10 position, feeding Moreno, feeding Emre Can with a Mane step over back to Sadio Mane goal. It was that simple. You know, the more and more we play together, the more we'll see fluid football like that, I feel. Second goal's all about a great ball out from the back from Joe Matip, Roberto Firmino, little side round the corner ball, straight into Mo Salah, penalty, Firmino sticks it away. And then the third goal as well, you know, great long ball by Dejan Lovren, flick over the top. I think he's going for goal. Roberto Firmino, Salah's pace gets the third goal. You know, these are three players who haven't played together in competitive football, all got a goal first game of the season. The problems are at the back, but we can score more goals, and we will score more goals than most teams. You know, there will be times during this season where we concede a couple of goals, and there'll be times where we score more goals than the other team, and that's the way the football is, unfortunately. I'd love it to be just that, you know, we score more goals than them all the time, because then we'd win the league, and that'd be sound. Do you think Sanchez would come to cheesy waffles? Not right now, no. Ross Barton, unfortunately, disagreeing, dissatisfied with that reasoning. Page, I hate that fans are using this shit to go to FSG. Paul wouldn't have come out with this piss if Klopp wants Phil to stay, he will. Yeah, that's fair enough, Ross, and that's Paul's opinion, and this channel isn't based on just Paul's opinion, is it? It's based on my opinion, it's based on the opinion of people that we interview, it's based on your opinion there. You know, it's a reasoned point, mate. This FSG stuff, it has been bubbling under for a long time now. No, I'm not FSG out. I've never said I am FSG out. I think hopefully you've watched the show enough to know that. But what I will say is that they've made mistakes, and I'm also here every single week to say when they've done things right as well. You know, to say that they have saved the football club, to say that we have progressed steadily over the last few years. We've not won enough trophies, of course, but the general direction of the club has been upwards. You know, we've got to major finals and stuff like that. I can see both sides of the argument. I can argue it both ways, to be honest with you, which is why I'm still right down the middle. Until August the 31st, it's far too early to make rash decisions on any of this stuff. You know, until you know the ins and outs of what's happened behind the doors of Melwood or behind the closed doors of Anfield, then I'm not going to judge Phil Coutinho and call him a snake or anything like that. But what I have give you is my opinion, and my opinion is what you're sat here watching. And if you didn't want my opinion, then I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place. And that's just the way that is. And sorry if that sounded harsh. I didn't mean to sound like a bit of a tit there. But, you know, that's just the way it is. Paul's got his opinions. I've got mine. We don't have the same opinions on everything. Michael Davis, yeah, but when we ever get close, we make our money from sales and start to build again. Marcus Lamb says, FSG out, Chris, come on, never won fuck all, so shite. Coutinho's a snake, Ulacura 31. I've just given my opinion on that until you know what's happened. I don't think anybody can say. John Ashton Davis says, where them nudes, Chris? I told you 3,000 likes on that video. Kumar Sankar, hey Chris, do you think Chan and Hendo can play in tandem good enough for our starting 11? I think they can play in tandem. You know, maybe... You know, if Phil Coutinho was to go and was to leave Liverpool, maybe you're going to see Roberto Firmino playing that 10 a little bit more and a striker up top ahead of him. I'm not 100% sure, but that's one way that it could. A Sang says, what does Coutinho need to do if the Barcelona move doesn't happen? Will an apology cut it? I'm shameless and fickle. For me, it would, but for you... apologies mean absolutely nothing to me from footballers. What matters is the performances on the pitch. Now, it'd be great. It'd be lovely if he comes out and says, look, I thought that I really wanted to go to Barcelona, but I'm here and I am focused on Liverpool this season. But if he doesn't back that up on the field, it's worthless. I'd rather him just come out and play football and play as well as we know that he can play and go on and kick on even further, because right now he's not played at a world-class level for over a year. And what I mean is, for a length of time, the year, he's always had ups and downs, and he's been a little bit patchy and a little bit inconsistent. And as such, I want to see him go and prove that he's world-class, go and prove that he deserves that chance at Barcelona, but ultimately it's about what he does for Liverpool, do you know what I mean? Ross Barr's got back in touch, fair response. Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciate lads' opinions more than most, just hate seeing this division, the fan base. We just need to get behind the team and get behind this club. Of course we do, like, of course, Ross, we do need to get behind the club, and we do need to get behind you know, as a fan base get together and stuff, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately, until the end of the transfer window's gone. People will start to keep talking about FSG out, and that's their opinion and they're entitled to it, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't say there's loads of people online saying FSG in, and there's, you know, if there are people who think FSG have been good on us, then they're a lot quieter than the FSG outers, and that's fair enough as well. But what it comes down to is this: until August the 31st, this is going to be talked about, and we can't, without the distractions of the transfer window, really lay down our tools, as it were, in those type of debates and arguments and conversations. And these conversations are happening everywhere. They're happening online, they're happening in pubs. And what type of a channel would we be if we're not discussing those type of conversations, mate? Thank you for your comments, though. I really appreciate it. Do you think that Insigne is a good replacement for Philippe Coutinho? To be honest, I've not watched enough of him to know, so that's where I stand on that. Sign Arsenio, go ahead. Don't think he'll be coming to Liverpool. Right, okay, there's any decent ones. Hey, Redman, I'm going to Liverpool for the second leg against Hoffenheim, says Frederick Peterson. It's my first time watching a game live since I'm from Sweden. What some Mustangs do for a perfect match day experience? You know what I'd be doing? I'd be going to Home Baked on the corner of Anfield, just over the road of the Cop. Be going there, getting yourself a pie, brilliant pies, you know, independent local business as well. Get into the park pub just opposite the Cop as well. There's loads of singing, loads of shouting. Atmosphere's great in there before. Have a couple of pints in there. Make sure you soak it in. Get into Anfield. Soak in the warm-ups. Not a lot of people go in there for that, but make sure you have enough time to watch some of the warm-ups and stuff. Watch how Klopp watch the other team instead of watching Liverpool. Look how the players interact. Look at those little movements that they do and how they train and how the centre-backs go off to the right-hand side. Get in there. Sing your absolute heart out. Get out of there. Come and do a fan cam with us. We film just behind the Cop, and then go and soak up the atmosphere in Liverpool, and that's my perfect match day experience. Obviously, you didn't need 3 points because of that as well, but there we go. If you could, would you swap FSG for City owners as LSLFC? I mean, hypotheticals, but yeah, of course, they spend loads and loads of money. Do we have the influence to sign quality players from elite teams such as Madrid, except said Chris Dobson? No, not really. Not if they're in the first team. Michael Davis, Chris, what will you say when Firmino and Mane went out? You know it's going to happen. I'll be absolutely gutted. Absolutely gutted. But you know what? I don't follow players. I follow the team. And that's what it is at the end of the day, and that's what football is. You know, I've seen so many players leave Liverpool over the years. You know, I've seen Torres broke my heart, I've seen Fowler break my heart, I've seen Michael Owen go, I've seen Steve McManaman break my heart and go to Real Madrid on a free. You know, I've seen Peter Beardsley playing for Everton, I've seen Nicky Barmby come over from Everton to Liverpool. I've supported Abel Xavier. You know, I've supported every Liverpool player that's come through the door, and that'll continue to happen, and that's just the way that it is. And if they go, yeah, there'll be 2 other players for me to support, and that's that, and that's why I'm a Liverpool fan, because I support the shirt and the team, and the players while they're playing for Liverpool. Obviously, I've got a soft spot for players who've done well and who've left in the right way, but that's the way it is. Like, does Chris know he looks like a chubby lesbian, says Memes? I do now. Thanks very much for that. Matty Thomas, do you think sorting the defence and buying Van Dijk is a bigger priority than signing Coutinho or keeping Coutinho? No, I think that defence is going to be really tricky to fix, and you know, the more goals we've got in the side, the more that we'll be able to get by on our defence, as it were. Look, it's a massive priority sorting that defence out, and one thing I would say is on that, right, 3 of that defence probably won't be playing come the 1st of September. Look, Moreno's not first choice left back. Trent Alexander-Arnold is not first choice right back for me anyway, and hopefully we sign a centre back to take Dejan Lovren's place. It's a tiny little bit of a positive that I'm looking for, but there we go. LSLFC says Pajak is a legend. Thanks very much. Do a diss track on someone? No. Can you see us triggering Asensio's 72 million release clause? No. FSG need to spend and break transfer records ASAP, says Mike Tyson. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Like, they have broken a transfer record. They've just broken one of ours, which is it's a little bit mad. But I do totally get your point. I'm just saying that. Do you think Klopp has a plan B and an ace up his sleeve? Says William Spencer. Not right now, honestly. Really, no, not at all. But There is positives. We've got another game of football tomorrow night against Hoffenheim. Paul will be here later on in the show, later on in the day, sorry, with the news show, where we'll be looking at all the potential LinkedIn. So do keep your eyes peeled for that. That's the latest on the Coutinho situation, including tweets from 20 minutes ago with Gillan Balagay. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on the video. Thank you everybody who commented, of course. Thank you everybody who subscribes to the Red Men TV. And if you haven't already, click the notification button so that you'll know next time we go live. I'm Chris Pajak, signing off.